All right, everyone, it's hysterical to see the MSM begin warming up to the Republicans tacitly because most of them have thrown Trump under the bus over the election. It's a gift from the MSM at this point because it's so goddamn fucking laughable. I spent the entirety of the 2000s and most of the 2010s hearing about how Republicans were basically the party of Satan Hitler, basically the party of invading everyone and starting World War III. But now Mitch McConnell, as long as he's in the process of saying tone it down to Donald Trump, all of a sudden he's a saint. Except when McConnell apparently behind closed doors over the Georgia election issue, he's like, hey, now if we win these races, we're just not going to pass anything for the next 2 years. I support that. By the way, if you're in Georgia, I strongly encourage you to vote for the Republicans. Hold your fucking nose just this once and you can see 2 years of insane levels of obstruction that are going to be pretty substantial. It'll be pretty funny to watch Beijing Biden try to actually do anything at that point. Here's a hint. He probably won't anyway because he won't have the will of Joe Manchin, so there's one Dem senator short, I think. The establishment, though, is very opportunistic. As long as the GOP is towing Trump's line, they have a huge problem with him, a bone to pick, and the GOP is evil, and these people are all ignorant and losers. But then as soon as Trump is out of the picture, they don't mind so much anymore. They can go back to party politics as normal and say, well, they have a redeeming facet. It's like on Christmas, you know, and it'll be 99% of the stories on fucking Christmas Eve are how bad Trump is. And it just becomes a shit show because they spent so many years telling people how terrible the Republicans are. But now the reason why they think they're terrible now is because they stopped being Republican-y. Donald Trump reformed the GOP. The Republican Party is much better now than it was 4 years ago. Trump practically heralded this when he was accepting the official nomination because people literally were getting up in order to clap for a log cabin gay Republican. And he pointed out, too, hey, a couple years ago that wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have been invited, number one. Wouldn't have gotten any standing ovation, number two. Donald Trump, ironically enough, has transformed the Republican Party from the perspective of a person who's basically an 80s business dem. He was never far right or anything like that. There's an element of fiscal conservatism there, and I do mean real conservatism like populism as opposed to, hey, we want to lower the corporate tax rate by a 0.5% margin. This is what passes for fiscal conservatism in the current economic atmosphere. Well, it's not. It's basically just slightly less leftism. And they never take that out of the budget of a bureau that everyone hates and doesn't need. They'll take it out of the budget for, making sure Social Security is solvent or something like that. They'll take it out of funds for orphans. That's usually how the GOP operates. They finally get a person who comes along and isn't acting like a total stooge, who isn't invading new countries. For 4 years, Donald Trump managed to do multiple things that no Republican has done lately. Didn't invade anyone, didn't increase our presence in any existing theater, ended up vetoing the NDAA the other day. Oh God, their heads are spinning now. Link in the description here. Oh my God, we're going to stop Orange Man. Quick, Republicans, override him, quick. Oh my God, we're all going to die. The terrorists will get us if we don't pass the NDAA. Who the fucking shit needs the NDAA? Why doesn't Congress just fucking do its job? It'll be 10 million pages long and filled with a bunch of crap. Trump, relatively anti-war by modern standards, including when you compare him to Democrats, like a Bill Clinton or a Barack Obama. You have to go back to Jimmy Carter to find someone who's has less proclivity towards invading other nations. In Jimmy Carter's case, it was arguably excessive. Like the whole Iran hostage situation, solved on day one of Reagan's presidency, by the way, for which he gets slightly undue credit. They probably just were crazy enough to think that he would actually bomb Iran. When we look, though, at Donald Trump's presidency, we're looking at actual conservative tax relief. That's something that we never got. Do you think that Bush did that? No, his idea, I'm going to relieve taxes by giving people a stimulus check. Yeehaw, they went off to Walmart and they bought a TV. Yeehaw, they bought a couple of weeks of groceries. They filled up their gas tank a few times. It didn't stimulate the economy. Yeah, it went into the pockets of some big businesses, mostly in overseas territory because you're already importing all the goods that people can buy with, what was it, $300-400. Doesn't buy a whole lot now, does it? But the establishment now loves the GOP. See, they've learned to stop worrying and love the Republican Party with all of its various corruptions and convolutions simply because they don't have to worry about Orange Man, they think. As long as Orange Man keeps attacking both the GOP and Dems, they'll be happy to play along, and they'll be happy to suck off Mitch McConnell, and they'll smooth things over with all the others. They'll just aim all of their fire at the dissident right, which is rising up, which is the only dynamic part of the fucking Republican Party. The America Firsters, like the Civnat, nativist, populist, libertarian core, that sort of, loosely assembled group of outsiders that aren't naturally Republicans at all in many cases, have congealed into the only dynamic force within the Republican Party. That's ultimately, by the way, why the establishment constantly hammers away at this issue. They're worried about that taking over the GOP. They'll eventually do the same thing, by the way, to the left and the Democratic Party. It'll be funny to see that happen since some of these people are stupid enough to support corporate censorship. It'll be funny when they start getting banned because there'll be no one left to speak for them. And then from the comfort of alt-tech, people like me will say, I told you so. Maybe you should have spoken out when right-wing individuals or people that were outside of the left were getting banned for an edgy joke they made 5 years ago. Maybe then we'd still have platforms and be able to help defend you. Oh, wait, we're all on BitChute and shit like that, and none of you bothered to make a channel. This would be kind of funny. That's about all. Peace out.